What up, this is your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're watching Lights Out.
This is FAISAL Khan for Lights Out, and we're here at Wembley ahead of the big fight night on Saturday night at the SSE Arena. I'm delighted to be joined by Mr. Kalle Sauerland, looking mean and sicker than ever. Kalle, good afternoon, mate. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, my friend. Nice to talk, yeah.
No,
Lovely to be here.
nice to have you on. Big night for your man, Eubank Jr. on Saturday night.
It's a big night for all our boys on Saturday night. Harvey Horn, Razor Ali, Linus Adofia, of course Junior, top of the bill, so yeah, let's talk to Junior.
How did that sort of partnership come about between yourself and Eubank Jr?
We go back, yeah, we got history. You know, we go back a long time to World Boxing Super Series. You know, also, you know, other members of the family were promoted, and you know, I've always got on very well with Senior. I think Senior is one of the great ambassadors of boxing. I grew up on watching Senior's fights on ITV and then on Sky, and terrific character. But it was the working together in the World Boxing Super Series that really made us close. And you know, he went off to the States afterwards. Obviously, beat James DeGale. States didn't really work out. COVID, you know, inactivity. So we talked, and over Christmas, New Year's. I think the contract dated 1st of January. I think we signed. So it was a busy Christmas, and you know, we just believe in the guy. You know, we really believe in Junior. He's been in big fights before. We'll be in big fights again, and it's not a surprise that Sky have taken him as the face of the new era of Sky Sports boxing.
It's his second fight of the year, so as you mentioned, there's been a lot of ring inactivity. How important is it to keep a fighter like Eubank Jr. Active?
Immensely. I don't need to cut you short, but I know exactly where you're going with the question. Immensely important because he is very active in the gym. He's always in the gym, and those sort of guys, activity is everything, or else they overtrain and they fizzle and they spark out, and it's no good. So it's the activity part is very, very important.
What's the plan with Eubank Jr? Because obviously you've got Saturday night ahead of you. There's been a change of an opponent, not the ideal preparation, but there's potential talks about a fight with Gennady Golovkin. There's Demetrius Andrade mentioned. There's the Charlos, and of course there's that big rematch with Eubank Jr. I mean, sorry, with Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah. I could go on. I could go on. There's a Murata, Liam Williams.
Yep.
So you've got those big international names. So I put them in two categories. I put the big international names: Andrade, Murata, and the Charlo. Yeah, Charlo's a good one. Munguia coming through. Yeah, good fight. And then you've got the sort of standout. You've got the legend Gennady Golovkin. And then I'm going to give a third category now. And then you've got those domestic ones that need no title, they need no selling. You don't even need to call them bad blood, but you've got obviously Liam Williams and you've got Billy Joe Saunders. What a list to choose from. You know, it's like incredible. So there's fight. When I say choose from, I mean that totally respectfully, because they're all great names. But when I say choose from, as a promoter, you look at the options, and there's so many options, and there's so many fights we can make. And obviously, it takes two to tango. But I think we'll go through all those names in the next few years.
There's a lot of talk about that rematch with Billy Joe Saunders. Obviously, his last fight was with Canelo Alvarez. There's a lot of question marks hanging over Billy's career and what he does next. Billy Joe's open to that fight with Eubank Jr, the rematch. But he said he'd take a fee of £5 million to get him in the ring with Cruz. Kalle, your thoughts on that?
I'm not going to talk publicly in negotiation numbers. I don't think. I think the fight is that big that the number is it's a big number. It's how you get there to the number, but that's a negotiation. I'm confident we can make that fight, and I think both guys want that fight. And I think that behind Usyk, Joshua 2. And maybe Fury, Fury Usyk or something like that next year. That's the biggest fight in British boxing, bar none. contest. We talk about Carl Brook and a few others, but Carl Brook is about 10 years too late. And there's a few other ones, but that one is just, it's one that you want to go and make as a promoter.
You've signed a host load of names, including the likes of Josh Kelly, Nathan Gorman, you mentioned Linus Adopia,
Harlem
Eubank as well, Harvey Vaughan,
Matthew Harris. There's Chloe Watson from Hatton's Gym. There's so many, Hosea Burr. You've got so many different talents out there that are crying for fights, and that is like I said, it was saying up there today, the big names are full because they've had the media backing, they don't need crowds, but it's those ones, big as Hosea Stewart, there's names out there that we're going to introduce in the next month to the British public, and we're very excited about that, and it's fantastic times.
As you mentioned, obviously another name that you signed is Nathan Gorman. You work closely with Filip Hrgovic. Speaking to a lot of boxing fans, they still sing the praises of the World Boxing Super Series. We saw many divisions included, super middleweight.
Busy working on the females at the moment.
But what's the chances of a heavyweight tournament?
Look, we've looked at it many times. At the moment, I'd say we're focusing on the females. It's very difficult to put on a boxing tournament at the moment over a season, not knowing exactly how the situation with obviously our friend Corona in the background still lurking. It's a tough one. So we went for one weight class, and to do the heavyweights, obviously that would take crowds and certain things. But we feel that we have got the right weight to make a statement with the females, give the females a platform they've never seen before, and bring that as a sport forward and make a movement. It's a statement, So that's what we're doing now. And in the future, of course, we'll look at the heavyweights. We've got Muhammad Ali as our ambassador.
Exceptional. Kalle, I want to get your thoughts on what went down at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last Saturday. Anthony Joshua losing to Alexander Usyk. Usyk becoming the new unified heavyweight champion. Your thoughts on it?
I'm not surprised. I think Usyk is a phenomenal boxer. I think AJ is a phenomenal finisher, and boxing won. I think AJ needs to let his hands fly in the rematch. I don't think it's rocket science. I don't think he needs to change much. I just think he needs to let them go. And he did that in the middle first rounds, and he did very well, and he stopped. And Usyk came on. And that's what Usyk does. He does those championship rounds second to none. Him against Maurice Bridis was a cliffhanger, and it was the last two rounds that could have gone either way, but it was that saved his bacon that night. He's done that before, and he did it again, and he won the last 4 or 5 rounds.
Were you at all surprised with the tactics Robert McCracken set out for Anthony Joshua? Did you think he was ever capable of outboxing Usyk?
I think Rob would be telling him to go and throw those hands, but he couldn't do it. Now, I'm not saying that's just hands, because I'm sure Joshua didn't make it easy for him to let the hands go. But that's what AJ's built his whole career on, and that's what he needs to go and do.
And lastly, last but not least, next Saturday in America, the trilogy fight between Tyson Fury and the bronze bomber Deontay Wilder. I mean, we've seen the landscape of the division change once. And what do you think the chances of Wilder perhaps changing it again? Can he beat Tyson Fury?
I don't see them as exceptionally good. I see the only chance that Wilder has is that inactivity for Tyson has been worse than the inactivity for Deontay. I just feel that second fight, Tyson had his number, and when I say had his number, he had a tactic that I can't see how, if he pulls that tactic again, I don't know how Wilder will deal with it, because he can't box off the back foot. So unless he's learnt to do that, I don't see how, if Tyson applies pressure like he did in the last fight, I don't see how Wilder's going to get that right hand off. And Wilder, listen, he's a one-trick pony, but he does that trick beautifully. Yeah? But he is a one-trick pony. He's got that big right hand, which is second to, people say, is that the greatest hand ever in heavyweight boxing? It's probably not even, it's probably not even an exaggeration. It is one of the best punches ever seen in boxing. But it is that one punch, and you know that if you put a man who's got that big right hand on the back foot, they're going to have to really use the footwork, and maybe he's worked on that for the last year and 9 months, but it's going to be tricky.
There's so many talks right at the beginning of the year of that undisputed clash between Fury versus Joshua. That never happened. Now we've got a case of Joshua going in for a rematch to become a 3-time champion. You got Fury taking a while next Saturday night. But as a fan, what do you want to see next happen in this division, given if Tyson Fury comes through on Saturday night?
Personally, I'd like to see Usyk fight Fury first, and then Joshua fight the winner, and give Joshua some time to recover from the fight. Personally, but I think that AJ seems to be so hyped on the rematch that he's going to take that rematch straight away, and good luck to him and good luck to Usyk.
How do you see that rematch panning out?
Right now, I see Usyk winning that rematch, but I still see it as I saw it as a 60-40 Joshua fight, and I probably see it as a 60-40 Usyk fight right now. So it's like, do I see the one? For me, that fight, although people say it was one-sided, it wasn't one-sided. Come on, the early rounds were give and take. The middle rounds were Joshua, and the last rounds were Usyk. But it was the way that Usyk's rounds were that much more convincing. And it was a very, very clear winner, but I don't see it as a one-sided fight that everyone's now making out as an absolute thrashing, which it wasn't.
All right, well, Kalle, listen, thank you very much for your time as always. Good luck for Saturday night. We look forward to catching up with your fight, mate.
Good talking, mate.
Thank you for talking to Lights Out, mate.